how do we start scaling this work beyond the few early adopters or the bright spots? And how do you start making this vision that we believe in become the norm instead of the exception that kids might experience? And that really starts with building a common understanding of the why for the work and having a common language with how you talk about things. And so when you think about deeper and personalized learning or personalized competency-based learning, this word competency is something that you really have to calibrate around the meaning of it. And so this slide is something that we've used in a lot of different formats. We animate it, and we start out, especially when we're talking to non-educators, ask them, how do you know if your child or if a young adult can add fractions or write a 5-paragraph essay? And people can answer that question. They can say, you give them a worksheet or a multiple choice test, or you have them write the essay. But when you ask them, how do we know when someone can collaborate effectively or speak in an impromptu manner against a proposed ordinance at a city council meeting? They agree that those are viable outcomes that we should be shooting for, but people struggle more to describe, how do you know with confidence that that's something that somebody could do? So in Mesa, we've had a portrait for a graduate since 2019, and these are our essential attitudes and skills that are in that portrait. And when we think about competency, this is really the grain size that we were thinking about. It is these things like collaborator and communicator. And we know that those durable skills show up in all of the different content areas and sports teams and extracurricular things that kids are doing on our campuses. But right after we rolled this out, and our portrait was really well received across all of the different stakeholders in our community, we started to hear some questions specifically from educators about, am I teaching to the portrait for graduate, or am I teaching the academic standards? So which one do you want me to emphasize in my classes? And of course, it's both.
And you'll see that section with those benchmark statements in a continuum of, what does that benchmark statement look like for a kindergarten student? And how does that translate to a high school student in 10th or 11th grade? We thought it was really important for when we have these progressions, so that way a 6th grade teacher and student can see, here's what I should have done or should know by the time I leave 5th grade, and here's what I'm working towards or should know by the time I enter 9th grade. And so having that continuum of learning for them to see. And I will share that it's been nice to have these courses completed, these competency statements completed, because we're really focusing right now on designing instruction and really looking at the backwards design of UBD to design instruction. So having these competency documents completed, so when the teachers sit down to unit plan using the UBD format, they're able to look at these placemats and identify, okay, here's the skill set that the student needs to be able to meet by the time they graduate, and then it helps with that backwards planning.